Christian faith is inseparable from God's redemptive and restorative mission in the world. Christianity is not only about my salvation, as important as that is, but about being drawn into what God is doing beyond myself. In Scripture, that kind of service isn't an extra credit assignment for the spiritually elite. It's part of the core shape of Christ-like love, starting with Jesus himself. Jesus says it this way, "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." And Paul echoes this same posture in Philippians chapter 2. "Do nothing out of selfish ambition. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. Have the same mindset as Christ Jesus." So this is the invitation, a faith that isn't only something to behold, it's something that links us to God's cause in the world. And that brings me to us, to WCS. Here at WCS, our ambition is to nurture and support our students for Christ-like service in God's world. If we borrow Dr. Cameron's image, then the story of this school is like a long chain made up of countless links of love, devotion, prayer, sacrifice, and steady faithfulness. And this is the best part. That chain isn't history. It's not just what they did back then. It's happening now, right here, through you, the people in this room, and those joining online. Because the truth is, you are linked to the chain. This chain you're a part of stretches back nearly 100 years to 1928. That's a lot of faithfulness, a lot of often unseen effort for an extraordinary purpose. And in a very real way, Psalm 78 captures the heart of why it matters, particularly at our school. God's works are to be taught so that the next generation will set their hope in him. So when we serve, when we give time, talent, encouragement, resources, prayer, what we're doing is more than keeping an institution running. We are strengthening a chain that helps the next generation see and trust the living God. One of the perks of being on the board is that we bear witness to those adding new links to this chain all the time in amazing and creative ways. Just look around a second. This room is full of links. Different roles, different talents, different seasons of life, but one shared cause. Now, we need to be honest. There's a cost to living out faith and service to others. Many throughout WCS's history have sacrificed time, talent, and treasure so the school would thrive, so it could keep and be a beacon of light, showing what it means to live in the world God has created and is still active in. But the upside of that sacrificial service, the fruit of it, shows up in countless ways. In the lives of the children we educate, in families who can testify to what it has meant for them to be part of this community, and in you, faculty, staff, society members, serving as ambassadors, modeling the good news of the gospel in everyday faithfulness to our community. So as we move into the business of our meeting tonight, and as we look toward the next school year, here's my simple challenge. Reflect on the link you're forging for God's cause at WCS. And maybe carry this question with you as we move beyond our meeting and into the next school season. Lord, how are you asking me to strengthen my link through prayer, presence, encouragement, or generosity? Because you are part of something bigger than yourself. Your link is connected to the past, and it reaches toward the future where others will connect their link to yours. Let me close with a scripture from 1 Corinthians that aligns with this idea of steady, sometimes unseen service. Therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. May God strengthen our hands for the work before us at WCS and deepen our joy in the cause that links us together, generation to generation. Join me in prayer. Lord, we do thank you for the legacy, the history, the generosity, the love, care that's represented here in this room, those that have gone before us, and those we look to the future to help continue this chain. We ask that you be in our meeting, in our fellowship, in the decisions we make. We commit it all to you. Amen.
Thanks, Jim. As I stand here tonight, I'm struck by a sense of gratitude and really a full circle reflection for myself. In a moment, you're going to see a video clip of me in 1996, 30 years from this spring, when I graduated from Whitensville Christian School. In it, a much younger version of myself talks about what made WCS special. It's the teachers, their care for the students, and the importance of a Christ-centered education.
Bible classes do not make a school Christian. Even the Hindus and Buddhists have religion classes. What sets a Christian school apart is the people. The teachers and faculty here have an intense love for teaching children, and most of all, they have a strong commitment to the Lord. They express this love by taking the time to show they care. Teachers here are allowed to let down their guards and open their lives and tell us the struggles they have gone through and the knowledge they've gained through their experience. It is times like this when I feel that I am really in a Christian environment.
What's remarkable to me is this. After all these years later, this message holds true, even if my New England accent has diminished a bit over the years. If anything, I understand more deeply now the message of what I was saying than I did even then. As a student, you feel the impact of a teacher who knows your name, who notices when you are struggling, who encourages you when you need it most. But now, full circle, serving as the Board of Trustee President, I have the privilege of seeing behind the curtain. And I've seen it, and seeing that only deepened my appreciation for all that you all give. I've seen teachers who pour of themselves daily, not just academically, but spiritually and emotionally for these students. You pray for them, you stay late for them, you show up again and again and again with patience, wisdom, and love. The perfect example for me is Mrs. Karen Exu. She retired, I say retired, after serving the school for 30 plus years, only to come back, and she has pretty much put on every hat the school could offer after her retirement. And you know, she has served in SAS, high school administration, and a million things in between. But more than that, Karen took the time in her retirement. She cataloged, she organized, and she distributed hundreds of these videos over the course of the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s that had my Spanish class, a basketball state championship, anniversaries of celebrations of people here. That is not something that's typical in every community. That kind of investment is unique to our community. This community, in my mind, is extraordinary. And over these years, I've also had a front row seat to the generosity and goodness that sustain this place. These quiet acts of giving, the sacrifices people make that don't get any recognition, and the deep belief in the mission of WCS and the people who invest their time and their talents, and the parents who entrust their students and children to this place. I got the privilege on a Friday night at the auction to see that one more time in action. During a special appeal, over $33,000 was raised for the endowment alone. And if you were here last year, you know the impact of each dollar the endowment makes. And what's especially meaningful is that it doesn't just impact this year. A gift of that size to the endowment means almost $1,700 every single year is put back into the school, forever. In 20 years, that will have given the same amount that was raised that night back into the school, and it keeps going. And it's that type of lasting impact that this community makes. The school has weathered storms over the years, financial challenges, leadership changes, and moments that could have easily fractured another community. But yet, the faithfulness of God has endured. And it's not just survived, but it's thrived in this school. Now we find ourselves moving to something even more remarkable, a 100-year anniversary in 2 years. That's a century of faithfulness, which may be a preview to the line that we're using, but don't put that out there yet. And personally, because I'm going to be involved in that, I can't help but feel a sense of anticipation for what's ahead. It's going to be a joy to celebrate that milestone together, certainly with people in this room, and I'm excited to see what God has in store for us. I also would be remiss if I didn't take a moment to thank the fellow trustees I've served with for these past 6 years. this is not easy work. It often happens behind the scenes. It's not glamorous. It requires late nights and hard decisions, and it rarely comes with any recognition, but it matters deeply. Each of you brings your own gifts, your skills, your own perspective, and your love for this school. And it has been an incredible honor of mine to serve alongside of all of you. And of course, I want to thank Miss Sarah Bowler. Most people will never understand will never understand the weight she carries, the hours she puts in, and the way she holds the well-being of this school and each and every student here close to her heart. Her leadership is marked by sacrifice, by diligence, and by an incredible love for this community. We are all incredibly blessed by her. And finally, it's my joy to welcome Mr. Alex Thomas as the next president of the Board of Trustees. Alex is a WCS graduate like myself, and he loves this school deeply. He brings a calm sense and a steady presence, a thoughtful and intelligent approach, and a humility that will serve him and this committee and this community so well. I have every confidence under his leadership, and WCS will undoubtedly continue to grow and thrive under him. As I step away from this role, though, I do it with an incredibly full heart. WCS, as you've heard me say before, was my first love, and it's shaped who I am today. It continues to shape not only my children, your children, and many generations to come. And that hasn't changed since 1986 and my incredible devotions to the faculty in high school. So I step away with a full heart, and I'm thankful for all of you. I think I'm supposed to have a button up here to press. Tim, sorry. This is just some quick housekeeping. There are minutes in the email from April 8 to approve that you can go in and look at. There is the voting form. You're welcome to vote when you want, and we'll also show the QR code if you want to scan it right to the form. So. Can you click ahead for me, Tim? All right.
You want to go there, or you want to go back here?
Yep, that is the information for that. And I'm going to introduce Mr. Michael Bell, and he is going to be introducing the new candidates for the Board of Trustees. Thank you, Mike.
Good evening. So, for our slate this evening, we have, who has the little clicker? There was a clicker here last year. Okay, so for our slate, we have a lovely slate before you. We have Marlena Duncan, who will be returning for a second term. We also have Alex Thomas, who's going to return for a second term as an incumbent, and Jeff Mogan, to use the sort of corporate term, a boomerang, who has already served once and is now coming back. We're very excited to have Jeff on the board. He brings a great deal of legal and HR experience, so he'll be a great asset to our team. And I believe, and from that, I am going to turn this over to Sarah Bowler.
Good evening. I'm just work better in life with it all. Oh no, now what have I done? All right, good evening. It's a gift to be together tonight. Staff, families, supporters of this school. Each of you plays a different role, but you are all part of the same story. And this year, that story can be summed up in one word: hope. Which feels especially fitting because we began the year with this theme, anchored in hope. Not just something we said at convocation, but something we've seen lived out throughout our community. Let me take you back to the week before school started, when our staff gathered together. We kicked things off by learning about appreciation languages and identifying our languages. Some of us feel valued through words, others through acts of service, and some, I hope, through coffee carts with Kurt's 49 Fathoms special roast. That first week also set a tone. New people stepping into roles, Glenn grounding us in devotions, and the sense that we were not just working in the same place, but we are working together. And that spirit has continued. We've seen it in the encouragement, in emails from parents, in survey results that reflect growing trust, in the mid-year feedback that shows meaningful improvement. We've seen it in relationship building, even in moments we didn't plan, like when the lights went out for hours the day before Christmas break, and everyone pivoted to board games, laughter, and simply being together. Constant snowfall this year opened the door for hours of play in the snow, and even new experiences as our students learned how to snowshoe using the equipment we purchased after COVID. We've also seen it in our commitment to open communication, following up personally on surveys, hosting parent roundtables, holding a finance town hall, not because we have everything figured out, but because we believe that listening matters. And it is making a difference. We had 6 students return within the first 2 weeks of school, families choosing to come back. We are currently looking at a 94% retention rate for next year. That speaks volumes. We've also stepped forward in how we tell our story, through consistent presence in the local newspaper, through Michelle Blackburn's leadership in enrollment, whether she's presenting data to the board or speaking in chapel, or hosting events like our open house, which welcomed 38 prospective students. And as a side note, we currently have 30 new students on our enrollment projections for 1st through 12th grade next year. We've also had small but meaningful initiatives like the bike bus that reflect the kind of joyful, connected community we want to be. Programmatically, this has been a year of growth and imagination. Our new preschool playground and outdoor preschool, where learning happens through exploration and creativity. Robotics moved into a new space in the mill, giving students room to build, experiment, and innovate. Our middle school aquatics class invites students into hands-on learning by giving each of them their own aquarium to care for, building responsibility, curiosity, and a deeper understanding of living systems. We have a business lab that is engaging students in how to be Christian leaders in the business world. But what makes this place special is not just what we build, it's what we experience together. Moments like praise and worship after a homecoming volleyball game, Diane Friedline's thankful campfire, apple pie day, the gratitude parade, Spanish caroling, a wide variety of flex projects, real work meeting a real need for real people, our Christmas concert, elementary musical, preschool nativity. These are the moments that shape who our students are becoming. And our students continue to give us much to celebrate. A sportsmanship award that reflects character, athletes breaking personal and school records, the Deca Diner and World Cultures Night bringing learning to life. Our high school fall drama, 12 Angry Jurors, where students wrestled with truth, perspective, and conviction. Spirit Week, which reminded us that joy and school absolutely belong together. And I do feel the need to mention the parents versus varsity girls basketball game, if only to say that our students are very competitive, but the parents still won. Behind the scenes, there has also been important, steady work, strengthening safety through our safety committee, training with local police and fire, and a comprehensive safety audit, navigating difficult moments with care, communication, and partnership with authorities and families, investing in leadership development and coaching, and staying committed to following up with families, even in difficult conversations, because relationships matter. Financially, we have much to be grateful for. We have exceeded our fundraising goals for this year. We had a record-breaking $118,000 raised last week at the auction, like Erica said, with $33,000 of that going toward the endowment. Giving Day brought unexpected generosity. The 1928 Society continues to grow. We've made meaningful progress toward funding for our new track. We have experienced a gap in our budget due to lower enrollment, and we are working with focus and care to close that. And we continue to approach our budget with both responsibility and vision, seeking to steward every dollar in a way that serves students well. To our donors, thank you. Your generosity is not abstract. It shows up in classrooms, on fields, and in the lives of students every single day. We've also made meaningful operational strides, kitchen updates, improving functionality, safety, and the overall experience. Hiring for key roles, including a groundskeeper, which means our campus not only runs well, but looks the part too. And even exploring new opportunities like a homeschooling program that could extend the reach of our mission. Through all of this, one thing stands out to me. We are a community that keeps showing up. Staff, like Erica said, who pour into students every day. Families who partner, support, and trust. Donors who invest in a vision bigger than themselves. So where does that leave us? Anchored. Not because everything is easy, not because every question is answered, but because we are grounded in something deeper. We are anchored in hope. Hope in what God is doing here, hope in who our students are becoming, hope in the strength and unity of this community. Thank you for your partnership, your trust, your generosity, and your belief in this school. It is a privilege to be in this work with you.
Good evening. I feel the same way. I almost need to hold it. My name is Christina Menard, and I'm the treasurer of the board of directors. And I am here to speak to you about the current financial situation of WCS and what we are proposing for the budget for next year as well. Where's the clicker? Okay. So first I wanted to start off with truly our blessings. They are the folks that I'm looking out at. I mean, the teachers and faculty and staff that are working with my personal students, or children, and the ones that I've worked with them in the past. You guys do amazing work, and we feel that you guys show up not just every day, but it's at night. We are getting emails, follow-ups, that you guys really are the blessing of our community. Also, another blessing for us is the focus for our students, keeping them engaged, keeping them motivated. Not all students want to sit in a desk and listen to history. It's getting them engaged in other ways. I see them out on the fields, around the school, and also connecting them with God in all of that they're doing. Also, we're very, very grateful to our generous donors, our supporters this year. We've done a very good job, or excellent job on a fundraising side, and we could not have done that without the supporters of WCS. And then also the continued focus on our financial health at WCS. We've had to look at our budget coming into the fall and make some adjustments, and at the same time not making any I hope you guys didn't feel that it was too many changes to the curriculum and what we were providing our students and our families that we told them that we would going into this budget season. We also have growing PK and K programs. That to me is hopefully where we see the future going, is keeping that retention of those families into the next 12, 15, 20 years, is that growth. We have had some challenges this year. We proposed a budget in the society meeting of April of 2025, and as we headed into the summer, we found that we were losing students. So we started the 2025-26 school year down about 50 students. And I hate to refer to students as revenue, but that is how we get revenue. When we are putting together our balance sheet, that we are looking at income coming in, that we were down about $1 million. What we didn't do, we did not go through and say, well, we need to cut a second grade teacher. We now need to get rid of 3 other teachers over here. We did not do that. We felt that keeping the staff and keeping our course offerings and as strong as we had committed to was what our goal was. And we then focused more on challenging our administration and staff that we really need to work on retention of students for next year. We need to work on fundraising and other ways that we can create revenue in the future. And that is what Sarah and her team have come forward with. We also still, just like our home budgets, we have expense pressures. As the lights get more expensive, electricity, oil, things like that, it is getting more expensive. So those are some of our challenges that we've tried to balance this year. So going into the 2026-27 school year, we are proposing oh, I'm sorry, I had more slides. So we do have, these are our enrollment trends over the last 7 years. So we can see we did have some peaks in that, after COVID season, and then we have kind of trickled back down under the 550 or so category grouping. So our goal is going into this school year, we are budgeting for 542 students. As Sarah mentioned, we have more students that we're hoping that will commit to WCS. If that is the case, that means that obviously more revenue will be coming in. But we feel that being a little bit more conservative on our student number should help us to have a more conservative budget. Next. Our tuition assistance. Our tuition assistance goes, the number for tuition assistance that supports tuition assistance is it includes our faculty discounts, our multiple student discounts, our pastor discounts, and then it also includes for folks that apply in order to offset, maybe a gap in their budget. So that is what tuition assistance is used for. We do continue to invest in tuition assistance, and this year we're moving tuition assistance up another 3% of contribution as well. So proposed, we have this year's budget. We have a total, I guess I'm going to start on this side, a revenue of about $9 million. Like I said, we're going to be budgeting an enrollment of 542. We have tuition increase of 3%, and then we have an increase fundraising goal to our tuition assistance. And then fundraising goal, we did increase that to $650,000 for the team. And we will be proposing a deficit budget, and I will talk about why we are doing that in a second. On the other side, our expense changes. We do have a compensation increase for our faculty and staff, 2% for faculty with less than 16 years, and 1.5% increase for faculty with more than 16 years. We have a couple inflation pressures that we've spoken about. So you may say, why are we proposing a deficit budget? The reason why we're doing that is it's a couple reasons. Well, we only have a couple levers when it comes to getting more revenue to WCS. One of those revenues is increasing tuition. And what we don't want to do is go back out to our community and say we need to raise tuition by double digits. We feel that that would make it so that our parents wouldn't be sending their students here. So we felt that a conservative increase of 3% allows us to retain families that we have already recruited into WCS, and then also our existing families. So we feel that that is one of the biggest reasons is that keeping it at 3% for that reason. I think I'm done. Do you have any questions? I'm going to take questions. Yes, sir.
Is the cost of living for faculty over 16 years 1.5% because they don't have children at the school, which is 3%?
No,
I'm just kidding.
Any other questions? Yes, Russ.
What was the primary reason for the loss of students over the past year and the past several years?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know if Sarah wants to answer it, but we did do surveys. The admin team did a phenomenal job of reaching out and requesting to sit down or have conversations with each family. I think there were a couple reasons. I think some were finances for some families. Those families who were listing it was finance, we asked to have meetings to see if we could meet their need. So there was that outreach. Okay.
I would say for last year, one of the things that was out of the norm for us with the tuition increase, it was the first year that we saw our elementary families feeling like they might not be able to afford WCS and be able to, and they're looking, the sustainable future of keeping students here through 12th grade. And so we had more elementary families leave than we have in the past. And like Christina said, we did, I called all of those families, I talked with those families. There were families over the summer that we were able to bring some of them back due to their finances and be able to use TAP to make that work for them. But for others, as they were weighing their budgets, weighing their priorities in life, it felt like 13 years of sustaining that tuition was going to be difficult for them, which is again another reason why we've really worked this year to keep our tuition lower.
There was also a large outflow of students to BVT last year. So for a number of years, BVT had a lottery system. That seemed to it went away for a number of years. It is back, thank you. So with that non-lottery BVT program, they seem to just be taking a lot of our students because they're all fabulous, right? I mean, so that was a huge loss of students for us in last school year. So, and we talk about it at a board level, is who's our biggest competition, and we'd like to think it's another large private school. Sometimes it's just our local schools is our larger competition. So, and we try to keep that in perspective. Any other questions? I guess, Russ.
What percent of need do you meet in your tuition assistance program?
Yeah, our goal is to meet 50% of
Per
need
family?
for families that qualify, yes. And there are some situations where there are families that they can't afford WCS, like that is, and we try to meet more than the 50% if we can. So, and yeah, so there's different funds that we're able to pull from, so it's not even just tuition assistance. We have some fabulous families that have set up some scholarship funds, so we're able to pull from the scholarship funds in order to keep students here. So, Russ, any more questions? we'll just get coffee. Anything else? All right. Oh. Do I ask for the budget approval? Or is that done by? Okay. The trustees request approval of the general fund budget as presented and approval for the administration with the approval of the Board of Trustees to retain and/or faculty provided such is funded by new student tuition and for gifts designated specifically for this purpose. And you'll be able to go on your link, and it is the last, no, it is the third question on your link. I don't have a clicker. If we could show the QR code, please. Thank you. Thanks so much. Vote now, vote often. No, I'm just kidding. Just vote once. We actually track you. So, yes. Next to come up will be our new board president, Alex Thomas.
I'm not going to go through the finances again. Hi, everybody. It's a real honor to stand before you tonight as the incoming president of the WCS Board of Trustees. It's sort of a pinch me moment. I would not have expected this in a million years when I was a student here from K through 12, but I'm humbled to serve this community that has meant so much to me and my family. Before looking ahead, I want to take just a moment to recognize and thank the board members who are rolling off after the end of their terms. Dave Planninga, Jim Pulinello, and Erica Johnson have each served this community faithfully and selflessly, and their contributions have been so valuable to us as a school. Dave is a member of our development committee. Jim is our board secretary, keeping us all in line and on schedule. And Erica, as our board chair, your relationships across this community are inspiring, and the leadership you've demonstrated has really been an inspiration to me, and you're a tough act to follow. So thanks, but no thanks. My connection to this place runs really deep. Like I said, had the privilege of attending here from K through 12, as did my wife, Sarah. From Mrs. Colby to Mr. Berg and Mr. Bantel ×2 and Mr. Vanderbaan and so many others that I could name. Mr. Herman, I saw him walking in this evening. It's just amazing. Basically, all of my formative experiences in life happened within these walls. Well, not these walls, because this beautiful library did not exist when I was here, but you know what I mean. And now I feel blessed that 3 of my children, my only 3 children, are currently enrolled here, just downstairs below us, pre-K, 1st grade, and 3rd grade. There isn't a single institution in this world that means more to me than this place, and I hope you all understand that, because it feels like a real calling to me. So as I step into the role, I'd like to just share a few priorities with you guys that will guide my service here, and I hope our collective efforts in the few years ahead. First, this is really important to me. We as a community and as members of the society must clearly articulate through both our words and our actions the value of what this school offers. We provide a Christ-centered, whole-person education that is increasingly rare and very much needed. This is not just about academic excellence, although we strive for that every single day here. It's about forming character, nurturing faith, and preparing students to live lives of purpose outside of these walls and serving wherever they end up. We need to be confident in that value proposition, and we need to be vocal about it, both internally amongst ourselves in this community and externally wherever you go. so that our current families, our prospective families, and our supporters understand the distinctiveness and the importance of this mission. Second, we need to ensure the financial stability and permanence of the school. This is essential to everything else we hope to accomplish, and we must appropriately balance that with the value proposition that we're offering to our families. This will allow us to continue to attract and retain excellent teachers, maintain and improve our facilities, invest in academic programs, and keep the school's tuition accessible to our families. This is going to require a lot of discipline, transparency with you all and with our community, as well as some creativity, and obviously the continued generosity and partnership of the community members here. Lastly, and Erica previewed it for you, we have an unbelievable milestone on the horizon, a 100-year anniversary in 1928. Reaching that full century is no small achievement, and it speaks to the faithfulness, sacrifice, and the vision of generations long in the past who came before us. Our responsibility is not only to celebrate that legacy, but to build on it and to position the school to survive for the next century. What that means is honoring our mission while also being thoughtful about how we adapt to a world that's changing very fast, so our future students can benefit from the same transformative experience that I and so many others in this room have benefited from. I don't take this role lightly, but I don't approach it alone either. The strength of this school has always been in its people, its teachers, its families, its supporters, and its leaders. And Erica, I know where you live and how to find you. Thank you all for the opportunity to serve this place, and thank you for your ongoing commitment to this incredible school. Now I have the pleasure, I guess, or the administrative duty to inform you that we also have a proposed bylaw change this year, and it's fairly straightforward, I would say. I think since the beginning of the society, there's been a requirement that you need to donate annually $50, and that it doesn't include your tuition payments if you happen to be making tuition payments. Our proposed change to that bylaw is that the $50 includes tuition payments. So if you pay tuition to the school, you're a member of the society. If you fill out the form, you don't have to give an extra $50. That felt like an impediment that just didn't make sense to have anymore, to be a member of the society. So, same QR code. It's the last question on the list of the voting form. So, I think we're going to move on to just general Q&A. I know we did some for the finances, but that's the next section of our schedule here. Thanks, everybody.
Well, we are here to manage the Q&A, not for our comic stylings. That was, we got a lot of feedback last year, and we're not going to do that again. No. So we want to be able to answer some questions, but just a couple of housekeeping things that you might have already noticed. But the first thing is, we're still going to be on questions, but I'm going to go back to our voting. So this is really important, and we can watch Erica's video again. But the voting. So this is how we do the voting. We do it digitally. We do it with the form that's out here. We capture some information so it can all be tallied and make sure that we've got some consistency here. You have 4 things to vote on. The first one is just the ratification of minutes from last year's annual meeting. The second one is the board members. We put them up there as a slate. If you don't like that, then we can bring that up as maybe an issue for a future board meeting and a future annual meeting. But we try and do it as a slate so that it's easier if you just vote and not to vote on each individual person. The third one is the budget ratification for next year, and the fourth one is the bylaw change. So we need you to vote on all of those, and then to put just some minimal information in there so we know who voted and we can track that. This is not Chicago. Please do not vote early and often, as was mentioned. We're just looking for the single vote there from a housekeeping standpoint. Second thing is, you may be aware that there's some texting, going back and forth, things like that. We had some issues with YouTube on the technical side. We were not able to stream live the meeting that we're having right now. Tried to email people back if they're having the issue, but if that comes up, just so you know, that's what's going on. We have recorded this, so we will be able to post it, at least for people to be able to get to. But just trying to get out ahead of that and make sure that you know, that's partially why I was running around in the back trying to figure out, is there anything we can do? There was not, so that's the situation. All right, so the first thing is, our next thing, any questions that you have that Glenn and I can kind of field? I do have one question that came in via email that I'm glad to use to kick off the Q&A, but are there any questions from the group?
Anything we can deflect or deny.
All right, so I do want to make sure that we honor the questions. Russ, I see you there. I'm going to ask put this one out there, and then we'll see what you've got. So this question is about, according to the meeting packet, there is a key priority of investing in faculty. So the question is about, with the cost of tuition increasing at a higher rate than the faculty's salaries, how are we going to ensure that the children of WCS teachers can continue to be part of the student body? The comments are just, you saw the tuition increases and then the different elements that are there. So the number one way that we want to try and address that is what you heard tonight, of providing tuition assistance. There's a combination of things that we want to make sure we know from a narrative standpoint. Alex hit on one of them, but Christina also brought some stuff up on the finance side. As a board, we are trying to find that balance, because what we are offering right now is something that is unusual, is in need, a need that people have, and then it also has value to it. So there's this funny thing of, we want to pay the teachers and faculty and staff well, so that they reflect that desire to do things well. At the same time, we're trying to adjust tuition so that it reflects the actual value of what people are getting, so that we know kind of what that looks like. Our long-term goal as a board has been to strategically move towards helping with tuition assistance as a way to defray the costs. So we continue to be committed to that, and that's the way that we want to make that happen, and so that we can balance those two things together. There are folks who can pay the full value of tuition, and we want them to have that opportunity to do that. At the same time, there are folks who it is a challenge, and the tuition assistance is our long-term goal. If you do not know about the endowment, we are going to continue to communicate more and more about that, but the endowment is a great way to think of a long-term way that you can contribute, or that you can tell others that they can contribute to that kind of approach for the long term, going into the next 100 years of WCS. All right, Russ, did you have a question?
Can I
Oh, yeah.
ask a question? So was the question that you just answered, was it specifically for teachers though? Was it comparing?
The question was specifically for teachers.
So for probably the teacher that asked the question, you know, the discrepancy between the increase in tuition increase in salary. So how is that reflected in teacher, specifically teacher assistants, right? Because you're probably not going to double dip, right?
No, so-
does that make sense?
So you can double dip.
If you need
That's
to.
what's on the.
If you don't know
So,
this,
yes,
you
if-
can double dip.
Yeah.
This is a little like, I'm not sure why we wouldn't do this, but anyone who has any inkling, it's kind of like Kelly and I fill out the FAFSA every year. Don't make it about pride or some other thing. Apply for tuition assistance. And we have a third party evaluate it to also help us to make good and wise decisions about how we do this. So they inform about the need that's there. So yeah, if you apply for tuition assistance and you bought a brand new RV, that might not be something that they would evaluate as being, you know, a way that we can make that work. But if it's something that they can evaluate, please apply for tuition assistance. Do not do that. That is part of the mix. You can double dip. So if that's one takeaway for the teachers, I don't know if everyone knows that. You can double dip. Does that help answer the question? Other questions? Russ, what was your question? And I know I've got a couple of them.
So there was some information in the handout about your project of facilities for the track. The one thing I noticed, it was increase in evening use of grounds. Is there a plan for lights? Is that how you're going to get an increased use of grounds?
Yeah, there's 2 phases to the athletic complex, and help me if I go off track here. First phase is focused. Oh. The first phase is refurbishing the existing facility, the track, and expanding it partially, having more sprint lanes, the field activities and things. Second phase includes potentially, if we move to this, when we move to the second phase, but lighting.
And what would you like?
The track and
Is there something else you wanted to like? Okay.
Another quick question.
Yeah.
You mentioned you have a new full-time professional grounds manager. Who is it for?
His name is Paul Conti.
Paul Conti. So he's on
He just
staff?
started, he's on staff, he's full-time, and he's actually, it's been very beneficial because we were using a variety of companies for a variety of landscaping and those types of things, and now with him on staff, he's able to do that right here. He's working currently with Earl Wilson quite a bit. Earl's right back there, and I was talking to Earl today too about how beneficial that's been for our community.
Did everyone hear that? No. So Paul Conti is the new maintenance groundskeeper. And he's just started recently, but he is already working on trying to consolidate some of the things we do to save costs and to manage them better and to coordinate with others. I paraphrase. All right, other questions? There were some hands that were popping up. Yeah.
This sort of piggybacks off of the earlier conversation for teacher-student, the discount for teachers' kids. I didn't know if there was thought of increasing the percent to match the percent increase with tuition, if that would, if we're thinking about it that way, or if it has to be based on financial need through the assistance program.
Do you want to answer that or do you want me to jump in? Okay. So currently, there's not a plan to change the percentage this year, but we are always evaluating that. And there have been changes. The most recent change was last year or the year before?
Incorporating staff.
Yeah, so we incorporated staff. That was something that changed recently. So it's an ongoing thing. So we are constantly trying to balance that and add whatever we need to on either side of the scale. But the tuition assistance is maybe the big headline for people to remember that they can also look at that. Other questions?
Russ. If you're looking for questions,
Well, I'm going to confess, Russ, we're not looking for questions, just so we get the dynamic right. Yeah. But we want all the questions that are out there that
tell me
people
when I'm done. So I was reading about restorative justice.
Yes.
It's sort of interesting. Who is harmed, what do they need, and how can the harm be repaired? And repairing harm, restoring relationships, and reintegrating individuals into the community. One question is, how is that going? And what happens when, Johnny keeps pushing Susie 2, 3, 4 times and smacks her in the head and trips her? Is there playground justice as well?
Well, so we'd have double restorative justice we'd have to look at with the scenario that you're describing. Yeah, actually this is a really great, I wouldn't describe it as a program, it's a philosophy, it's a way of doing things. The great thing about it, well, I'm going to tell you 3 great things about it. The first one is, it is so consistent with what we believe as followers of Jesus, that reconciliation is actually a part of the mix. And in lots of academic situations, that can be separated out and you lose that. It's basically, there's a punitive element, but there's no need to have some kind of reconciliation. The second thing is, it is tightly tied to community. And again, within our Christian faith, there's an important aspect there that what I do impacts others, and that I am a member of community. So it has a proactive piece of encouraging community and culture within the school. The third thing is, we actually have a subject matter expert on the education committee who's been helping to lead us through a lot of this as well. That's kind of just a first overall view of that. When we're talking about how that works, that is it's really this element of trying to draw a student back in who has had some disruptive activities that they've done or behavior, and help them understand how they impacted others and how they can reconcile, and to then encourage that community to be restored and to continue going forward. I will let Sarah weigh in on how it's going this year, because this has fallen mostly on the admin team and the teaching staff.
So I would say from an administrative point of view, from our principal point of view, one thing that we've really been working on again is that restorative piece. So at each of our levels, elementary, middle, and high school, when a student engages in a behavior that hurts someone else, whether it's physically, verbal, all the different ways one can hurt someone, and is with the principal, they are spending time at the elementary level. They have restoration, like a sheet that they're working through. What was my behavior? How did it impact the other person? How can I repair this? So it's just continuing to focus on that repair. I think we're in the early stages of this at the school. It is not something that we have continued to, it is something that we are continuing to learn and have training on, but we are excited about it, and we're excited about it for the reasons that Tim said, just with how closely it ties in with our worldview, with TFT, with the idea of creation, fall, redemption, restoration, and bringing people back. And just to your other point of, Johnny keeps pushing over and over again, there is a limit for us. There is a place where restoring within our community might not look like you're still a part of our community, but it's how can we, maybe you're not still a part of our community, maybe this community isn't the best place for you, but we're continuing to try to build that relationship and foster that person's growth elsewhere.
Did everybody hear that? Did anyone not hear?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Okay. Other questions? Okay. If there aren't other questions, then we would like to continue with our agenda, which is to start the wrap-up process. And we're going to see Terry, would you be willing to come up and lead us in a closing prayer? If you have any additional questions, please email them to the email address that we had up there, the trustees at Whitensville Christian, and don't forget to complete your vote.
Today I drove home from Pennsylvania after spending about 5 days with my daughter and my 3 grandchildren while my son-in-law was gone. And I was reflecting on the way home of the first night there, how Colton, who goes to Coventry Christian School, led us in the Lord's Prayer for supper, which was really nice. He's 5. And then Seth, who is 3 and couldn't be outdone, had to show me his verse that they just learned: be strong and courageous, do not be terrified. And he gave it with all his hand motions. And it just reminded me of the link we have here. It reminded me of WCS and the home, school, and church, how we work together. So would you join with me in prayer as we close tonight? Gracious God, we thank you for your presence among us this evening. We thank you for this place, for the students and their families, for the wonderful faculty, for our staff, and for all who support and uphold Whitensville Christian School. You have blessed WCS for almost 100 years, and we ask you to continue to hold it in the palm of your hand going forward. As we go, we ask for your guidance and wisdom in the busyness and excitement of the 4th quarter here at the school. We leave this place now, but never your presence. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
How are you? And we know.
Oh, special people.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
So my
You get one in years, but it's
there's
okay.
something with the schedule.
I enjoy my place.
And it didn't recognize it. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't.
Right there.